Hey viewers, welcome to a review of last week's stop motion battle 16B, between the Lunar Wolves, our mysterious Space Marine chapter, and some Chaos Space Marines of the Tzeentchian chapter or strain. So in this section I'm going to just talk about the narrative part and the story that we're actually moving along, and just probably an insight into what's going to happen over the next few weeks as I wind down season 6 and gear up for a big finale. So I'll just show you the board as far as what I'm doing at the moment. So at this stage I have done the narrative part of the introduction and I'm about to start the battle itself. So this is the board that we're using. So we're coming down these stairs here, which is from an upper level of Myth Drevor, and we've got some Lunar Wolves here with Horus there leading the way. He's going to play a greater role in battles to come. We also had our heroes, which are not on the board at the moment, but they basically came down here. This was all empty, and they ran through this maze area and up along that bridge. Now past this bridge is getting towards the end of the caverns, so the plan is after this is to have the feeding pens. I don't know if anyone's been following the story, but dead bodies etc. were dumped into the cavern and were being eaten by the ancients. So in through this, past this bridge, is essentially those feeding pens and the gates of Myth Drevor, which then will lead into our final. So what we had here is our Lunar Wolves came down here, encountered a bunch of Chaos forces over there, and they were heavily outnumbered at this stage. I think there's 8 guys there, I think, on this side, and quite a few on the other side for Chaos. And then this group of our mysterious chapter, led by the librarian there, coming in from the side here, and to even up the odds. So the plan is, just a slight spoiler I suppose for these guys, is that they're an older chapter and they're going to go back to the old Periculo and morph into an upgraded version. So this chapter here is like a sort of a red and white based army, so those guys are from this army here, and those guys are mostly in Forge World, like Terminators with the old style armour. And look, the narrative from this story is that these portals traverse space and time, so they're in old style armour, and they'll basically meet themselves in a new style armour, which is a new Space Marine chapter, which you haven't seen yet, which will probably be next week or something like that. I haven't got to that yet. Anyway, enough of me blabbing on. This is the Chaos side, so we've got some Demon Princes, a couple of assorted demons, horrors, etc. And then we've got some Terminators and things up the other side there. So some heavy firepower on both sides here, and we've got a very small board to operate on. A lot of nooks and crannies for people to get some cover inside. We'll see how this battle rolls out. So that's the layout of the board. We'll wait and see what happens. Turn 1 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of turn 1, and both sides have shot a casualty each. So we started off with Chaos on this side. They all just mosey their way across this lava section here. We've got the Greater Demon leading the way, and that Marine over here took shots from the Dreadnought back here and the Demon as well. So 1 casualty on the Lunar Wolves side. The rest of the Terminators and other creatures just basically took strategic positions ready to engage. From the Lunar Wolf side, we had the Dreadnought fire upon a Terminator just here, not taking any casualties. The rest of these guys basically spilled out through this doorway into this section here, ready for advancing through the middle here. Some heavy bolter fire was done on the Graded Demon there, but that's pretty tough there, so we'll see how that rolls out. Moving across onto the other side of the board, we saw our Space Marines take various positions across this bridge here. We've got 2 jump pack units sitting in this little alcove here, ready to jump out and get into combat. They didn't actually take out any casualties on this side. That Terminator here shot in to this group here, and not much else really happened, so no doubt they will advance over this bridge next turn and get in amongst these demons. These demons are fairly weak compared to the Terminators back here, so they should do fairly well, but the Chaos have got some pretty strong units over the other side of the board, so fairly evenly weighted. That is the end of turn 1. We'll see what happens in the next turn. Here we are at the end of turn 2, and there's quite a few combats, battles, melees going across the board. Over this side we had our Space Marines, 2 Terminators essentially, come over here and lock horns with an opposing Chaos Terminator, taking that out. We had these 2 jump units were hiding in this little cavity back here. They scooted over this way and engaged the horrors there. 2 casualties for the horrors, 1 for the Space Marines. These 2 guys back here couldn't really get into the combat. They were back over here near this crystal. Basically came over here trying to reinforce this section. Terminators here in the middle, 2 facing this way, tried to take out our Librarian on the bridge. Couldn't do it. This one here, the Sorcerer, basically tried to take out this guy who's hiding behind this doorway here. Couldn't take that out. 2 Dreadnoughts locked horns over here, duking it out. Likewise, there's another combat over here with a jump unit and Changeling and another demon next to it. That no casualties there. That is ongoing. Horus is basically stuck in this doorway, waiting for an opportunity to come out and hurt somebody. Graded Demons and Demon Prince took out the Centurion sitting here, so they're going to cause some major mayhem here. A heavy flamer, that is, actually, and the Chaplain tried to fire upon the Sorcerer there, and it didn't take that out. There was a combat over here with a Screamer, they called, a demon anyway, with the Dreadnought, with a Terminator, and that was taken out as well. And also there was some firing from these 2 guys here, Melter Weaponry, taking out a Terminator just there. So 1 Centurion down, we've got a Terminator down here, Demon down, 2 more Demons, Terminator and a jump unit for the Marines. Quite a few casualties, so the battlefield is starting to thin out. We'll see what will happen in turn 3 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of turn 3, and there's been quite a few casualties across the board. We had the Chaplain here charge into the Graded Demon, trying to buy some time for these units here to withdraw and try and take a position behind this wall. The jetpack unit was stuffed in there, couldn't really do anything, so sort of jetpacked back out of it and just stood there. The Chaplain heroically died at the feet of this monstrosity. We also had the dueling Dreadnoughts taking chunks off each other here, blocking this passageway here. Horus turned around and took out the Terminator Librarian, just there, Sorcerer, sorry. So that was a good move there. Just up here, 2 Terminators clashed with the Terminator from the Space Marines, so that is ongoing. Our Librarian here went toe to toe with the Demon Prince here, so that is ongoing as well. We'll see how that rolls. The Changeling came back here and engaged with these Space Marines here, and also there was another demon that came across that little bridge there, took a position there, but it got melter gunned essentially there. So over here we've got a large melee going on, everyone's piling in. We've got 2 casualties of the horrors in the middle, and 1 Space Marine Apothecary, leaving 2 for each side remaining, so they'll continue to duke it out. Can the Tzeentchian Sorcerer and Marine there take over the Terminators on the other side? Probably not, but we'll see how that rolls. So there's nothing really else at this stage. Could go any way. We're only at turn 3, so we'll see what turn 4 brings us. Here we are at the end of turn 4, and over this side of the board we had the 2 Dreadnoughts duke it out with the Changeling, who reinforced that combat, and the Lunar Wolves Dreadnought was defeated. Moving over this side we had Horus and the Jump Pack unit here assault the Chaos Greater Demon, and the Greater Demon lost, but also took out the Jump Pack unit there as well. Our Librarian here got the better of the Demon Prince, and the 2 Terminators here fought the other Terminator there and defeated that too. Over here our Melter crew had no target really at that stage. Was going to target the Changeling, but they quickly did a swift move down this side and avoided that fire. And up the back here we've got our 2 Terminators in combat with 2 Marines. The Sorcerer was taken out at the end, so the red and white Space Marine units are getting the better of the Chaos Forces over that side of the board. So overall we've got 2 turns to go. We've got some of the heavier units have been taken out, so we'll see what will happen in turn 5 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of turn 5, and what we had here is the Dreadnought come through here, block this little doorway here, and encounter the Flamer Marine, who didn't last long at all. Horus and the Librarian basically came down here and couldn't get into the combat, blocked by this doorway, and that Marine's basically smashed in the middle. So something there. Up this side we had the Changeling came out here, tried to fire upon these Marines who are just standing out in the open there, hiding behind their power armour. The Melter Marine ended up vaporising the Changeling. There were 2 Terminators which were standing up here, basically came down and reinforced this combat over here and turned the tides, taking out 2 Terminators there. So what was going to be a Space Marines victory in that section of the board turned out to go to Chaos, so a bit of a switch in fortunes. Anyway, so we haven't got much left on the board, we've only got 1 more turn to go. What can happen at this stage, who knows? Well, there we have it, that's the end of turn 6 and our battle. We had the Lunar Wolves and our Librarian. They were up close to this Dreadnought. They withdrew here, just behind this little rocky section here, and let loose with all the fire that they had and took out the Dreadnought. And also, these other Marines here, the Melter guy and the Bolter guy, were up here. They went down here, getting away from the Dreadnoughts, not the Dreadnoughts, the Terminators, who were way over there. So they tried to get in here at the last minute and try and take out Horus, but couldn't do it. So Horus and co end up winning. So at this stage I will do the narrative section and move on to the next battle. So the plan is here I'll do a little stop motion section where these guys run off across the board here, ready to go to the next layer of the dungeon, which is getting towards the feeding lots, which is going to be a pretty interesting battle. And then we're going to have a section here where our Librarian, and I'll probably get a couple more of these white guys, to somehow they have to teleport away. Now what I'm going to do here, this is my theory, is we're going to have this guy who's our portal opener for Chaos. He's going to go staggering around open a portal, teleport these guys back to the old Periculo, back to the Emperor's Seat. Now the plan is that the Emperor's Seat is that there is a white army there. Now we've got this white army over here, the Second Legion, which is our Mysterious Legion, which is all these guys, white and red, essentially. So basically they're going to go back to the old Periculo, except they're going through space and time. They will emerge a new chapter, so they'll essentially come back all nicely glossed up with some shining white armour, and they will be version 2.0 of Legion 2. So that is my theory. They will make an emergence in the final, essentially, at some stage, but I need to refresh this army here, and I'll bring out a nice brand new army to battle in our next battle. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.